Hello, my beautiful caterpillars, and it is that time of the month again. Not that time of the month, but um, you know, we're not gonna talk about that time of the month. It is book club month. Ooh, book club, because it is halfway through September, and I have yet to do August book club. And don't hate me. I don't know. I keep saying, why did I start book clubs when I know I'm not going to be able to read for the next 2 years? That was stupid of me, but I was just like, hey, I really want to talk about books, and there's like, especially with like Flowers in the Attic, I'm like, I have to get this off my chest. I have to tell somebody about the horribleness of Flowers in the Attic. So, yes. Today I have 3 books I want to talk to you about. I actually only have 2 of them with me. Whoops, wrong way, Jenna. Because surprise, surprise, of course, I don't have the book because I borrowed it from the library. And that'll be the last book we're going to talk about because I feel like he's going to take the longest. So the first book I want to talk about is Underground to Canada by Barbara Smuckers. Again, yes, I haven't read these books in a really long time, but it says the 25th anniversary edition to the classic story Underground to Canada. We all know about, well, we don't all know about, but the slave trade. This is set back. It's like, I don't know, like, it's not a true story, but it probably, I don't think this is a true story. Like, it's not an actual story, but it probably did happen. And I like the fact that they have like the map in the book about like Eliza and Lizzie's route to freedom, and this is kind of where they all went. And it's a story about a young black girl and her journey to getting into Canada. So yes, I'm just gonna read the back. It says Barbara Smuckers has, I'm probably saying her right name really wrong, so that's her name. I'm sorry if I say this wrong. Barbara Smuckers has created a sensation and dramatic story about a young girl flight from slavery. Some 3 decades after it first appeared in print, Underground to Canada still serves as a wonderful introduction into the valid and fascinating element of Canadian history. So that's just a review of someone's but it says there's a place the slaves have been whispering around called Canada. The law does not allow no slavery there. They say if you follow the North Star when you step onto that land, you are free. Taken away from her mother by a ruthless slave trader, all Jilly has left is her dream of freedom. Every day that she is spent huddled in the trader's cart traveling south or working on the brutal new plantation, she thinks about the land where it is possibly to be free, a land she and her friend Lizzie may reach one day. Some of the workers from the Underground Railroad offer to help the 2 girls. They are ready, but the slave catchers and their dogs will soon be after them. An exciting story which looks honestly at a society's evil and focuses sharply on the individual's search for dignity. Underground to Canada is highly recommended. Ottawa City. So that's kind of, I don't really know how much to like explain it. It's really, really good, and it talks about this girl's trip from the black slave market, but back when in the United States it was legal to own people, which I think is just horrible. But it's a really good story, and it's a really good insight onto her life and how she made it to Canada, and her and Lizzie, her friend, I think. She gets taken away from her mother. She's lived with her mother for like the majority of her life, and then they get split up. I think they're on Mr. Riley's plantation in the cotton plantation. I'm not really sure. But she and her mom get separated anyways, and she gets sent off somewhere, and then she escapes and eventually does make it into Canada, and it's just a really, really good story. And I really like it, and I like history, and I liked reading about it, and I found the Underground Railroad was really interesting. And yeah, I haven't read this in a really, really long time. I think I was in public school still when I read this book, but I really, really like it. It's a really powerful story, and it's just an exciting journey what this girl went through. I know it's not true, but it probably did happen to someone. I'm sure their story sounds something very similar to this, so yes. I don't know. I liked it. It was very good. The next book is called The Girl Who Could Fly by Victoria Foster. And this is about a young little, like, it's kind of, I don't know, like, a little bit, maybe a little kiddish. I don't know. I didn't find it that, like, I think I was a teenager when I read it, and I didn't find it to be all, like, really kiddish. I thought it was still, like, a really good book. And, like, no matter what your age is, you know, if you're 50, you still might enjoy this book. I don't know, maybe not so much if you're, like, 50, but, like, a young, you know, like 12 to 15-year-olds might enjoy this book. I don't know, I really liked it. I guess I'll just read the back to you guys. Pepper McLeod lives with her normal ma and pa and a normal farm in a normal low-town county. But Pepper isn't a normal girl. Ever since Pepper was a baby, she had been able to hover a few feet off the ground, and if the people in Lowland County knew she could fly, they would have something to say about it. So it only seemed best that Pepper be sent away to INSANE, or insane, to the top secret school for children with extraordinary abilities like her. Her new friends have powers like telekinesis, X-ray vision, and the ability to create their own weather. Pepper likes her new life at school, but soon she realizes things aren't as they seem. Now the school she was sent to for her own protection might be the most dangerous place she's ever been. So this lady here is the Institute lady, and I forget what her name is. But Pepper's family is in, you know, like this very small town, you know, that nothing normal, you know, it could ever happen. She would be like a social outcast. She would probably, you know, because people don't normally able to fly, and you know, normalcy is what they want, and it's very frowned upon to be anything but normal. And so this lady comes in from the institution, you know, saying, like, we know your daughter can fly, like, we've, you know, kept it, I think, interest on her, I can't quite remember. But anyways, they somehow found her, and the parents agreed that this is probably the best place to send her, and Pepper thinks that she's going to learn, and I think the parents do too. Maybe the parents know that they're actually going to, try to get rid of her power. I'm not entirely sure though, but I don't remember. Okay, I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. But so they send her away to this place, and she thinks they're going to teach her to learn how to control her flying power, get it like to its best as its ability, because it says for children with extraordinary abilities. And they give them this, they have like these amazing food, and she's like, I've never ate so good, and she goes to school and she learns things like a normal child would in class and stuff. And there's this one kid, I forget his name, but he keeps eating this other kid's food, and they're roommates and stuff. Like, she doesn't have a roommate, I don't think, but her best friend, she has a friend, and her friend gets in trouble or something, or goes away for a little while because she fainted or something, and they come back, and I think she used to have these visions and stuff. I can't quite remember, it's been a while since I read this book. Like, I was probably in high school, maybe grade 9, grade 10 when I read this book, so it's been a few years. But anyways, like, her friend comes back, and she's different, she's very strange, and no one knows what's wrong, and they're like, oh, she's better, you know, she's going home now, and everyone's like, she doesn't remember what she can do, like, this is really weird. And the other boy, I think he was, I forget what his power is, but it's something interesting. I think it's Conrad maybe, I don't know. And Bella's the one, I think, is her friend. And she, anyways, he, like, I think Conrad steals this other boy's food, and, like, they make them take these, like, vitamins or something, I think, or, like, medication, I don't know, I think it is medication, and anyways, Pepper finds out that, there's medication, they're dicing their food with medication to make their abilities, disappear. like, you're not supposed to eat the food. That's why the other boy is eating the other guy's food, because he doesn't want to lose his abilities, and he's very smart, this kid, and he figured it out long before Pepper, I think even long before Pepper even arrives. But she gets in trouble, actually, because the lady, she finds out, Peppa finds out, Piper, I keep saying Pepper, Piper McCloud finds out what this lady is doing to the kids and tries to tell everyone, and she gets locked up for, I think, like a month in solitary, where she can't fly, can't do anything, and she says that she kind of like goes into herself, and like they torture her kind of almost too, I'm pretty sure. So she kind of just goes into like her own little bubble to try to break her from wanting to fly and stuff. But she actually defeats that, and I'm pretty sure she tries to escape. Jasper, I think, is a little boy that Conrad is picking on. But they don't let them leave. It's a really, really good book. It's really intense at times. I really liked it. I haven't read it in a while though, so I can't quite remember all the details, but I really, really like it. If you're like 12 to 15, maybe not 15, but like 10 to 12-year-olds, I think this is a really, really good book. Even older too, like if, you know, that's what I like. It's an oddest / sweetest mix of Little House on the Prairie and X-Men. I was smiling the whole time, except for the part where I cried, preparing to have your heart warmed. And that was by Stephanie Myers, the author of The Twilight Saga, wrote that review on it. And then it says, the story soars just like Pepper, with enough loop-de-doops to keep this kid uncertain about what's coming next. Any child who has felt different will take strength from Pepper's fight to be herself. And I just think it's a really good book because, you know, it teaches you kind of things aren't what they seem at all. You know, this thing that seems like, oh, this could be so good to be true, sometimes it actually is. And in Pepper's case, unfortunately, it was too good to be true. And they were actually trying to defeat her abilities and make everyone normal because the Lady of Insane did not like children to be different. So, yes. The third book, I don't actually have it here, but I will insert a picture of it right now. It is called, it's by Lex Thomas, and it's The Loners. It's the Quarantine series, and what happens, I'm just gonna read an epilogue off of my computer. This is not what I've written. It's probably on the back of the book. It says like spoileralerts.com or something. It says this book begins with the main character, David, finding out that his longtime girlfriend Hillary is cheating on him with one of his teammates from the football team. David's mother died about a year ago, and Hillary says he hasn't been the same since, and that she can't be with him anymore. I should probably, like, I'm reading off. I'm not looking at you guys because I'm reading this. David sees him with the teammate Sam at the party and beats him up. The next day, David and his brother Will are starting back to school from their summer vacation in the new school. Same teachers, same students, but the school is, but they built a new school. When they go to school, part of the school explodes. A giant canopy is dropped over the school, and the soldiers rush in, telling the students they have been quarantined due to the virus carried by an escaped teen from the nearby testing facility that causes anyone very young or old to die when coming in contact with the teenagers. David sees this firsthand, with several teachers dying due to the exposure of the teens. Life after there pretty much gets worse. Food drops started by the military, and students begin forming groups. Sorry, I should probably pull this closer for me so I can really know. Food drops are started by the military, and students begin forming groups to try and get the most food and supplies. The groups are followed: the nerds, geeks, freaks, varsity, pretty ones, sluts, and there are others that follow who aren't in groups, like David, called the loners, although they are called scraps at this point in time. So they just scrounged for scraps and stuff. David, being doing the other students' laundry to try to get necessary supplies for himself and his brother, since no group will have them due to David's being able to arch rival of Sam, now head of varsity, and a known killer since he recently killed a kid during one of the food drops. David is only out doing his trading for the day when he sees a girl, we find out later her name is Lucy, at the graduation booth, being attacked. The booth is on a release schedule for each student. As they become older, the virus gradually fades out of their system, and they are scanned at the booth and released in the outside world. You have to be 18 to be able to be released, or else if you're not out there by 18, the virus will get you. So a lot of people try to escape, and it doesn't happen. And if they don't get out there in time, then they will die. So basically, you're stuck there. If you're in grade 9, you're stuck there until you're 18, until you can actually be allowed to escape. So basically, on your birthday, you have to go there and scan, and you get released out into the world. David saves Lucy by attacking Brad, a member of varsity, who was trying to rape her, which is horrible. But I'm sure a lot of that happened in that because, teenagers. And she was once one of the pretty ones, but she got kicked out, I think. It seems Brad falls when David punches him and hits him in the head on the concrete, dying. It seems now Sam will really have it out for David since he killed one of his friends. We find out Lucy is a member of the Pretty Ones, the group Hillary now runs, but was kicked out because she couldn't be forced to date a member of varsity, who we all discovered that Will knows Lucy from summer camp the year before, and that he is in love with her, and that he has been ever since then. Although Lucy was a member of the Pretty Ones, we find out she was very kind-hearted and not malicious like the rest of that group. A while later, another Scraps pulls David to the side to try to get him to be their leader. He first declines, but when the group of Scraps release him, rescue him when Sam is about to hang him, he agrees to go to the group leader. They become the Loners and live in a school's dump area downstairs. Varsity attacks the dump and burns it down, and so now the Loners are starving and homeless. David goes to the next food drop to stand up to Sam with the Loners, although there are very few of them and almost triple their numbers in the varsity group with the depletion of supplies. When the varsity members step forward and join the Scrap, several other members do too, toileting over 80 fellow Scraps. Another group is large enough to even take the food away from varsity at the drop, who normally take most of the food pellets. When Sam tries to attack David during commotion, the Loners stand up to him and are going to beat Sam to death, but David stops them. Now they are the largest group. The Loners take over the stairwell and make it their home. It all seems going well. Later on in the book, Hillary tries to get David back, but David has fallen in love with Lucy, and she with him at this point. Hillary is pissed, and when Sam finds out, he forces Hillary to attack David and stab him, taking out his eye. The relationship between David and Lucy is a huge rift between him and Will's relationship, but when Hillary attacks David, Will takes off on his own because he feels guilty since he was supposed to guard the stairwell the night David was attacked. After recovering from his wound for a week, David attends the next graduation ceremony to show that he is still strong enough to be the leader and not afraid to come out in the open, since one of their own group is graduating. However, at the ceremony, the graduation doors do not open, and the soldiers burst into the school again, saying that the next exit door is malfunctioning, and they will have to be scanned one by one. A student tries to go through who is not supposed to graduate, as all hell breaks loose, causing the soldiers to start shooting at the students to riot. 2 soldiers are killed, and the rest escape. As punishment, no food drops come anymore. The students realize the outside world is just going to let them die, so things become even more desperate as people are killed for what little food they have left. Will comes back just in time with the news that he has found a dog in the depths under the school and thinks there's a way out. David is beginning to hallucinate because he has now passed the graduation time, and when the doors won't open, he will slowly be being killed by the very contagious once he is carried. As the loners begin to search to the escape route, David is captured once again by Sam, who tortures him before planning on killing him. Sam catches him by putting a reward for food for the intercom system with anyone who brings David to him. Although the loners have the alliance with the sluts, and their leader Violet is the girlfriend of the leader of the nerds sell them out and take David to the varsity for their reward. I know this is very long, but this is probably better description than I can actually give you guys, and this is actually not, I'm just reading it off someone's blog or something, so this is like a full detailed, basically, here's what happens in the entire book. I just like a brief, this is kind of what happens, but it's really good, I like it. I'll continue reading, sorry. Will makes the announcement, Will varsity. Will then announces to everyone who comes to watch the fight to take on varsity shows up at the quad if food is unattended. All hell breaks loose and varsity takes off their protection for their food while the loners take David as fast as they can to the tunnel where they believe the outside world to be. The book ends when David gets out of the tunnel, but the tunnel is collapsing before the rest of the loners can make it out, so David takes off into the outside world to get help. We see a group of kids bust down the front door to the school so everyone quarantined can escape. Soldiers are all gone. So that is kind of like a synopsis of basically what happens with the book, and I think there's at least one other book. I'm not sure how long the story goes, the series, but it is so good. I can't really say anything more. I feel like that kind of just did its whole justice about this book, but this book is absolutely amazing, and it kind of like shows like popular, it says something like a mix of Lord of the Flies and Hunger Games. I think it's kind of like they're mixing it to be, but it is really, really, really good. I absolutely love that book, and I hope I want to read the second book, and if I do, I will definitely do a review on it, but it is such a good book. But yeah, there's a lot of tension between Will and David because David ends up falling in love with the girl that Will really likes, and it's interesting to see like how teenagers kind of like rule the world and what they're kind of put up with, you know, what they get the food drops and how they actually survive, and they're like the cliques. You know, it's still like the cliquey high school, but it's a brand new high school too, like they just built it, so everything's like, you know, and how they dispose of like the dead teachers' bodies as they throw them in the lockers and stuff, so there's like hallways where they don't go down because it just smells of rotting, decaying bodies. But overall, it's an amazing book. I absolutely love it and I absolutely recommend it to you guys, and I know that was a really long reading, but that's basically the book in a nutshell. I'm sorry. There's other things that happen, like it's very like intense, and it is so good, and I love it. I'm just gonna turn the computer and my monitor down. There you go, because I actually see my awesome shirt. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this August book club, and I hope you guys actually do read the books, and maybe you found one of them out of the three intriguing. I hope you did. Maybe you didn't. But yes, these are really good books, and I absolutely love them, and I'll see you later. Goodbye, my bookworms! Mwah! Bye!